Dude, all those conservatives at the GOP debates sure did take a liberal amount of time with those debates, didn't they? Dang, it was long. Even Gandalf was out in the audience saying, dang, this is long.
I think with that propaganda.
Don't get me wrong, I wasn't surprised it would be long. Lots of folks run it. I'll bet they'll end up imposing limits on how many people can run before they'll put term limits on legislators. Anyway, as usual, I think Huckabee did great. Great answers. Love it that he propagates the fair tax. I like his answers and the way he delivers them. But I don't think he was the taker that night like Carly Fiorina was. She spanked it. Rubio and Jindal was slamming it too. Jindal's game was tight that night. Jindal could have rewritten the Kama Sutra with that sexy performance he gave. He was ready to rock, man. Anyway, Carly gets to be called Foxy Fiorina now. The only thing Carly said that rubbed me the wrong way was when she gave that cop-out political answer when she said, that's up to the voters to decide. I'm sorry, aren't you a voter? Don't you vote? You get to make decisions too, and we'd like to hear your opinion on this. But other than that, she was handling business up there. She was causing the dudes up there to experience shrinkage, like they had a couple of grapes and she had a couple of grapefruits. And after she rocked the library with her statements correlating Iran and Planned Poacherhood in the light of resolve and character of the leftward direction of this country, she could have just dropped the microphone and walked off into Air Force One in the background and snacked on Jelly Bellies while Casey tried to claim to be a conservative while sounding like Nancy Pelosi. We actually have to let them deploy a nuclear weapon before we can actually say we know that they have one. Why did Democrats ask Republicans questions concerning nuclear weapons when it was a Democrat who used the atomic bomb? Anyway, I wasn't feeling Ben Carson at all. It would have been great if he can get Herman Cain to coach him a little bit on style. I can see Herman Cain coaching him now. Now, Ben, listen to me, son. Quit looking at the floor and look at me. I know you're used to looking down all the time because you spend a lot of time in that posture, fiddling around with people's skull meat like you're trying to solve a Rubik's Cube. But people forget that and just think you're mousy. Look at me when I'm talking to you, boy. It'd be like Herman Cain is Foghorn Leghorn and Ben Carson would be Miss Prissy Chicken's kid. And Herman Cain would be trying to coach Ben on how to be a more dynamic speaker. Come on, let's try it again, Ben. Repeat after me. Look, man, I'm not gonna fall for the banana in the tailpipe. Say it, Ben. Say it like you mean it. Look at me, man. I say, look at me, man. I'm not gonna fall for the banana in the tailpipe. And dang it, Ben, knock it off with the flat tax. It ain't biblical and it ain't constitutional. Fair tax, man. And for corn's sake, Ben, be prepared when you go into the debates. Did you just wing it when you were going into the operating room? No. I'm pretty sure you went in very well prepared, even if you had to improvise. I'm sure you were still very well prepared to do so. So why would you assume that you could just wing it when it comes to discussing the state of our nation? What are you, a Jedi? You gonna use the Force? You gonna speak from the heart and let it just come out natural? It don't work that way, Ben. The closest thing you can do to it being natural is to rehearse it until it's second nature. Sorry, but tactics like that doesn't sound like common sense to me. Lots of people really like you, Ben, and want to see you do good in this. But we were waiting for you to get to whatever point you were trying to make, and even through waiting for it, it turned out very anticlimactic. My tip for you, Ben, is I would suggest you really dig into using your profession as an analogy to how you would govern. You're a professional healer, dude. Relate the anatomy and physiology of the human body to the body of America that you want to help heal. Trump and Fiorina relate their experience as entrepreneurs as to how they would govern. They're very experienced in the fields they work in and associate that understanding into how they would communicate their policies. You're a physician. Associate your capacity to heal and your knowledge of the human body and apply that to how you communicate your policies, man. That's your wheelhouse. You could totally own that. Unfortunately, I don't know if you'll ever hear this advice from me. It sucks. People are always asking me if I've ever heard of this person or that person, like Ben Carson. I'm like, yeah, thanks for the heads up. Do y'all ever ask them if they've heard of me? Because I'm giving them really good free advice here, and they don't seem to get it. And then there's Jeb Bush patting himself on the back because he's speaking to high school students in Spanish. Dude, why are you proud of the fact that a kid has made it to high school and still hasn't learned to speak English? And I don't want to hear this business about maybe they just got here. No, I've lived in the Coachella Valley. Big Hispanic population. Kids go through school not learning how to speak English. But despite what others think, I personally think Jeb Bush brought a little more gusto this time. Trump handed Jeb Bush an opportunity to shine concerning the military response following 9/11. I didn't dig Christie's self-righteous hard-blowing, talking about the little guy's job and how we should be caring about that, and saying nobody cares about Trump and Carly's successful careers and track records. Then why were they asked? Christie downplays the success of Trump and Fiorina and belittles them like, whoop-de-doo, good for you, you're very successful, while making you believe he supports the success of the little guy. He wants you to rise up and be successful. Why? So he can have contempt for your success like he does for Carly's and Trump's? He doesn't care about your success. You just saw the contempt he has for success, just like a class-envying collectivist liberal. And he was applauded for his rhetoric. He doesn't care about your success. He wants you to go vote for his. Huckabee, on the other hand, is promoting a fair tax, which doesn't dismiss success or penalize it. And he got a mere golfer's clap. Santorum rocked it when he addressed judicial supremacy. It's so sad that people think that the final word comes from the judiciary. They have an opinion of the law. Their opinion is not set in stone, and their opinion does not supersede the supreme law of the land. They're not supposed to be legislating as it is. But people are so blinded by what they want other people to be forced to live by, so they'll insist on judicial supremacy, even though their opinion doesn't square with the supreme law of the land. And these same liberals who said that cake makers and photo takers should be forced to accommodate same-sex couples now try to act like they never said that, and they now say Kim Davis was an elected official, she works for the government, this isn't like a private business where she has the right to refuse service. Oh wait, what? Now all of a sudden, when it's useful for you to make your argument to vilify Kim Davis, you want to now act like you've always felt like a business had the right to their free religious exercise, and the situation with Kim Davis is totally different? Wow. Okay, anyway, so I like Santorum's answer on that, but he kind of lost me on the minimum wage and flat tax thing. But y'all, it was a long debate, and it would take me too long to cover everything. I'm Alfonso Rachel with ZoNation, and what they're doing ain't easy. Everybody can sit on the sidelines and critique, but when you're in the middle of it, it's a whole different effect. Getting around with people's skull meat like you're trying to solve a Rubik's Cube.